Those with spoiled siblings, when did your parents realize they terribly messed up? I have a brother who is about 6 years younger than me. He was excessively coddled by my parents due to being diagnosed with high-functioning autism at the age of 4. Other than that, he seems very normal, just unbelievably spoiled. He would use his privileged position to get his way most of the time, and by most, I mean nearly all the time. Whatever I had, he also had to have, resulting in us having duplicates of almost everything except shared items. And anything he had that I didn't, he'd rub in my face however he could. When I was 11, I pleaded with my parents for a 3DS for my 12th birthday. I got one, but then I was told to lend it to my brother whenever he wanted it, or else they would take it away from me. Which it was, a lot. When my aunt witnessed my parents forcibly taking my 3DS out of my hands to give it to my brother during one of her visits, she let loose on them for such blatant favoritism. They returned my 3DS immediately, then blamed me for the situation after my aunt left. They didn't make me give it to my brother again. Instead, a few days later, my parents went out and bought another 3DS as a surprise gift for my brother. On several occasions, including mine and other people's birthdays, my brother would throw a tantrum because the party wasn't entirely about him. He would go as far as outright stating that he was upset because he wasn't receiving any gifts or getting to blow out the candles on the cake. My parents learned the hard way that they couldn't enable my brother's behavior at those parties and were actually kicked out of a few for attempting to do so. As a result, other kids at his school stopped inviting him to their birthday parties altogether. For me, my birthdays were some of the only days where I could have the focus on myself. Otherwise, my parents forced my life to revolve around my little brother. The year prior to the incident I'm describing, my parents ended up paying more attention to him throughout my entire 13th birthday. They even asked me if I would let my brother blow out my candles for me because he was upset and pouting. I refused because I wanted to blow out my own candles. At first, they called me a spoiled brat until my aunt intervened and chastised them for their favoritism once again. She pointed out how my brother got nearly everything between the two of us just because he's autistic. My parents received no support from anyone else present, except my brother who was still crying because he wasn't getting to blow out my candles. Because he didn't get his way, he tried to spit on my cake out of spite. Fortunately, my awesome aunt blocked him before he had the chance and scolded him until he ran to my mom in tears. My parents faced a lot of criticism from the other adults there, and they promised never to ask me to let my brother blow out my candles again. However, for the rest of the party, they mostly just went through the motions. My aunt pretty much took over coordinating everything from that point on. A couple of weeks before my birthday the following year, my parents sat me down and informed me that they would still get me some gifts and a small cake. However, my birthday party was effectively cancelled to avoid my brother having another meltdown. I told them I couldn't believe they were doing this to me, and they just seemed to shrug it off without a care. So, over the next week, I told my friends, teachers, and even my school counselor about the situation. All of them were appalled by my parents' lack of consideration or empathy. The vice principal even found out and consoled me. Through social media, news of the situation reached my parents. As a result, they grounded and gaslighted me for telling so many people. But that still didn't stop me. I then started telling everyone at school that I was grounded for being upset. This worsened the situation because several parents contacted them, basically saying, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Suddenly, I was ungrounded, but I didn't receive an apology. My dad simply walked into my room with his arms crossed, informed me that I was ungrounded, and then walked out. That was it. I thought my party was still cancelled because nobody said anything about it. My brother found it hilarious and taunted me about not getting to celebrate. However, by the end of the 2 weeks, my parents held a surprise party for me at my favorite restaurant. They started claiming that was their intention all along, but I knew it wasn't true. From what I had seen, everyone was incredibly unhappy with them for what they did, and it showed in their interactions with my parents. So, they ended up throwing the surprise party to try and salvage what little of their reputations they had left. But I'm pretty sure they had to spend a significant amount of money that day just to accommodate me. I had dinner with all my friends at my favorite restaurant, which had a small arcade. I even received the PS4 gaming system that I had been yearning for at that time. I could tell it was all pretty much planned and bought last minute. My dad had a look about him that my aunt comically described as looking like a moth had flown out of his wallet. Of course, my brother made a huge fuss about me getting that surprise party. But with so many of my friends and their parents present, my mom and dad finally put their feet down with my brother. This time around, they stopped his tantrum when he wanted to push my cake off the table. For the first time since he was a toddler, my brother received a timeout, and my mom had to stay with him to ensure he didn't do anything crazy. He tried several times to run toward the cake or the stack of presents, but there was always at least one adult on guard. Even my dad stood watch to keep him away. My mom ended up having to take my little brother to a nearby McDonald's so he could have fun in their play area. I later heard that she spent at least an hour trying to get him to come out of the play structure. He only came out because he needed to use the bathroom. Then he tried to run right back in again. While I still lived with them, my parents never attempted to cancel my birthday again. However, they never again put in as much effort or spent as much. For the remaining 4 years I was under their roof, my birthday parties consisted of a local pizza parlor, a cake without even my name written on it, and no gifts. I don't mean to sound spoiled, but I was somewhat disappointed that I never received a cake with my name on it again. Each year, my aunt called my parents out on that, and each year they claimed they had forgotten to get the cake decorated. I suspect the reason my name was never written on another cake was that my brother always refused to eat pieces of cake that had someone else's name on it at any party. They couldn't put his name on any of my cakes either, as it would have looked very bad for them. Nevertheless, the fact that I still had a day that was solely about me and not my brother was fantastic in my book, especially considering that everything else revolved around him. During each of my remaining birthday parties while I still lived at home, my brother would create a fuss, and my mom would take him somewhere else to calm him down. I was still required to share my PS4 with my brother, but it was still mine. I took it with me when I moved out at 18. My little brother did not appreciate that and threw a huge fit until my parents went out and bought another PS4 for him. When I moved out, my parents finally had to confront the consequences of raising my brother to be so spoiled because I wasn't there to assist them with him anymore. On his recent 14th birthday, he went into a rage at our parents for not getting him a PS5. He is now currently grounded for I don't know how long after causing hundreds or maybe even thousands in collateral damage during his rampage. He picked up a chair and started smashing anything in front of him with it. When I last saw my parents, they appeared mentally checked out. My aunt has also informed me that they confided in her about how they wish they could send my brother to a military or boarding school in the future because they can no longer handle the monster they created. However, they are unable to afford such an option. I would be lying if I said I didn't find it ironically funny. My family found out I am rich, so they demand that I pay for a $35,000 vacation after I've already paid off all of their mortgages on their houses. To start, I'm 46F, are married and have 3 kids. 10 years ago we came into money, a lot of money. I worked hard in my specific field which earns a lot. I had done some smart investments and they have paid out. I have been steadily adding to my bank account for these years. My husband considers this my money. We don't have a prenup. Hence, I will talk as it is mine. When the first payload came in, I did what my husband and I always discussed if we would have the money. Mortgage was paid off. I bought a new car and I managed to buy a nice house in our favorite holiday destination. We rent this one out to a very nice family for most of the year. We set up college funds for our children, each an equal amount which should be enough to pay for 5 years. If there is money left from the fund, the children can use this as a down payment on their own house or apartment. When the money kept coming in, thanks to the investments in my work, I looked towards what could be done for my immediate family. My husband has 2 sisters and we have 5 nieces and nephews on his side from one of the sisters. My brother has 2 children as well. It was decided that all of the nieces and nephews would have college funds as well, for the same amount as my children under the same strict stipulations. I would get the information about the costs and make sure everything is paid. My eldest niece had already started college, so I paid the amount already paid to her parents to keep everything fair. She managed to finish within the 4 years and has some money left. I had an accountant, dear friend, find out what would be beneficial to my brother and one of my SEALs in regards to their mortgage. I paid off the majority for the both of them. My parents were sent on a nice trip, since their house is already paid off, and for both my in-laws is another sister-in-law rent, so I paid a certain amount so they can save that money. Part of the money goes to charity at home and abroad. I also set up some college funds for the children of our closest friends and family members. As a treat, hubby, Lo and I went on a paid-by-us/me vacation with both my own extended family and his. Now, at this point everyone is very grateful. However, one of the SILs always has a need to be in the spotlight, or that one or all of her children need to be. She's nice to my face, but I know for a fact that she has been bad-mouthing me, making passive-aggressive remarks about me and my work and my person, but always in such a manner that you would be the bitch/asshole if you would say something. My usual tactic, and one that works always, is play the innocent/dumb one and nitpick on what she says. I have managed to shut her up many times without being classified as a bitch. So the past few years sister-in-law has been hinting that I should pay for a very nice, all-inclusive resort holiday for her and her family abroad, since I have the money. Note, they have money saved that would initially been used for the college funds of their kids, money that has barely been used. COVID hit and she has been silent. She and her husband took and still take it very seriously. Now that restrictions are mostly lifted, she had a birthday party for her and her son, since her son really wanted to have a party. No biggie, we show up with a gift for her and her son and all is well. Birthday boy got a voucher to buy a tent or the camping gear he wanted. Sil got a voucher to use whatever way she wanted. I added some sunscreen, drinks and such, as I knew she wanted to go on a holiday of some sorts. Or so we thought. She asks what our holiday plans are. We say that we won't be crossing any foreign borders, stay in home country, but we booked a cabin somewhere for a week. Very nice, not luxurious or anything. We would still need to cook and do the grocery shopping. Sil starts on the "oh how nice." We are still thinking about what we want to do. My lovely hubby and I both have an inkling what she's hinting at, but we start spouting ideas in the hopes of avoiding tragedy. We have family at one place. Maybe they could stay there for a weekend or so. There is a campsite somewhere else, with entertainment for children of various ages. Then it comes. She shows us something she found on the World Wide Web, and to be honest, it looks amazing, not too luxurious but still very nice. All-inclusive, water park for the kids, spa center, the whole shebang. Price tag for a family of 7? $35,000. So hubby says that's a lot, but is glad they saved so much to do this. Sil then goes, "Oh, we don't. We thought you would be paying, as my birthday gift." Say, what? People, she just told us what she was looking at. No, scratch that. She expected me to give about $35,000 as a gift for her birthday, just because I have money. She goes on that I earn enough and their family, our godson, other nieces and nephews have been promised already and so forth. We all sat in stunned silence. Birthday boy and two of his sisters even looked up to see what we would say while playing with our lows. Hubby just started laughing, thinking it was a joke. Phil just sat there and looked on, and I did a seemingly very good impression of a fish. No, Sil was dead serious. You have the money, you can just give it. You won't miss it. This woman has shown her disdain for me and my work many times in a very sweet, passive-aggressive manner so that it is hard to call her out on it. Me, hubby and even her father still have done so. I just sat there and listened how she widened her eyes, trying to look sweet, something she does every time she wants something, and giving all the reasons why we should give the money, without counting the voucher we gave her. I then regained my wits and just say the full sentence she didn't want to hear. Me, no. Sil, but you have the money. Me, I have money, that is true. Sil, so you can pay for it. Me, I could indeed. Sil, interrupting me, oh that's great. Me, but I won't. Sil, but we deserve it, you won't miss it, we're family, yep, unfortunately you and I are family now. I love being family of your kids, however me, fact, we're indeed family. Fact, we all deserve a nice holiday after the fluff show called COVID. False, I would surely miss it, since it won't be in the bank account. Intended that one as a joke. Sil and Bill continue rant about how much they think I should pay for it. Me, listen, you have shown many times you do not respect me or my line of work. You do not respect the fact I worked very hard, made sacrifices to earn this money. You do not respect the fact that I have paid off your mortgage, paid for the college education of your kids and even some money for their own place. You badmouth me, call me names and even told people hubby should divorce me. Sil is trying so hard to deny it. Bill calls me a liar. Phil joins in and sides with me. Her own children tell their father that they have heard their own mother say horrible things about me. Birthday boy even recorded one conversation she had with someone while he was making a TikTok video. He showed this. Bill went mute. Conversation continues. Sil notices she won't get the expensive holiday she wanted. Fine, then don't pay for this holiday. The least you can do is pay for our plane tickets and let us stay at your holiday home favorite holiday destination. Remember I rented out to a local family for most of the year? Due to COVID they have to stay there as they can't, are afraid to travel. Me, not happening. First of all, the family can't leave. Second, you don't get to make demands. The voucher you got has a very generous amount of money on it for you to use the way you please. Maybe toward a holiday. Third, we already went on a paid by us/me holiday. So you got a paid for holiday already. Fourth, if you want more money then get a job that will pay more. You have a degree. Last, you treat me like crap and still expect me to just hand over my hard-earned money. Sil starts the waterworks and turns to her father, who completely sided with me. He told her he understood me. He told her he knew how hard I worked and the sacrifices me and hubby made for this. Hubby is pissed. He sees red and tells his sister in no uncertain terms that this won't be happening and how dare they. He tells her that we're leaving. We pack up the kids and go home. Later we get a call. Mill has FM tendencies as this Sil is her favorite. She tries the whole spiel on how hard they had it before I came into money and helped them, etc. Hubby dealt with her perfectly and she understood after a lengthy conversation. Now here is where I just laugh. Apparently Sil's kids are pissed that she pulled this stunt and went full rebel mode. We have a great relationship and seemed afraid that this would influence it. They managed to come by and we had a heart-to-heart. I told them we didn't blame them for the actions of their parents. I explained to them the reasons for not handing out money like that after the initial gifts. The youngest seemed to side more with mom and dad, but the rest said they understood. They know about their generous college, home funds. I stated to them that we wouldn't want for them to do anything against their parents as they still live there. They stayed for dinner and then went home. As of now, the kids are barely talking to their parents. They still do their chores, let them know things, but that's it. FM in the form of other family members came in as Sil had sent them messages and called them. A simple Facebook post by Birthday Boy with the video put a stop to that. Sil and Bill had an enormous backlash by the FM, calling them out. They have been uninvited to certain events. We have received apologies from the FM. Some told me that they had a hard time as they understood both her and me. The only thing that bothers me is the fact that my PIL are caught in the middle. Especially my Mill, who is very family oriented. I know some of you will wonder why I just won't give the money. One of the reasons why is the way she has treated me, even before I came into the money. Another reason is that I simply feel uncomfortable just handing out money. I simply ask you to give your opinion in a kindly fashion. Am I the jerk for not paying? What terrible thing did you do to a sibling that you will regret for the rest of your life? I used to bully my disabled brother for years. I know this will get a lot of hate and yes, I deserve it. I am not looking for any validation or forgiveness. I know I am a piece of human trash. I just need to get this out. I have a brother who is 2 years older than me. He has suffered from a condition since birth that forces him to be in a wheelchair anytime he is out of bed. He cannot use his arms that well either. We used to have a great relationship until I turned 11 and I really started resenting the amount of attention he took from my parents. And how much stress he put them under. I had to constantly help him, change him, feed him. I hated it. There were a few years in his life when he was so mean to my parents and it really made me resent him more. I realize now that I had no right to judge him and I will never know how difficult life is for him. I stopped hanging out with him and made more friends at school. I would tell my family all the fun I was having at school during dinner to make him feel bad. I started barely talking to him or acknowledging his presence. He would get frustrated to the point of tears to get my attention. It started escalating 2 years ago when I would purposely turn off the Wi-Fi and unplug the TV every time we had to leave the house so my brother could do nothing but sit in his wheelchair. I would purposely delete his favorite saved shows on the DVR. I would make fun of his speech. Push things just out of his reach. I would act disgusted when I had to change or bathe him. It always made him feel bad and he would apologize. I made my own brother apologize for taking a dump. What was wrong with me? But my saint of a brother never told my parents. And he never let me have it. 3 weeks ago, he was trying to talk to me non-stop and I was just ignoring him. I got annoyed and wheeled him against his wishes to the backyard and placed him under an umbrella and went back inside. I fell asleep and realized I left him out there for 3 hours. When I went to bring him back inside, he was in tears and wouldn't look at me. He was humiliated. I have always felt guilty about how I treated my brother all these years, but my anger towards him overpowered it. But seeing that look on his face affected me in a way that was different from before. I stopped all the bullying after that day. I couldn't even look him in the face. I was so ashamed. Last Sunday my brother told me he was glad I was his brother and friend. I couldn't even respond. I went to my room and cried. I'm crying again typing this all out. When did I become an evil trash human being? I'm 17 and he's 19 now. I know there is nothing I can do to make up for the past 6 years. My brother will be returning with my mom from a specialist appointment tonight. I'm going to apologize to him and beg for his forgiveness tonight. I want to start being a good brother to him again. I am a healthy guy with no issues who chose to bully his only brother for something that wasn't even his fault. I am so ashamed of myself.